next slide. So we're going to do a couple of writing exercises, and so what I want you to do, I'm gonna play a couple of YouTube videos. I'm gonna try to play a couple of YouTube videos. We'll see how this goes. It worked earlier, and this is just for fun. This is just for fun, you know. Write down or just have them in your head, whatever. This is about developing your C's: action and intrigue, the eye of an intelligence officer. Note small details. It's all about small details, right? It's small details when you're an intel, small details when you're a writer. That's what makes it good. So I'm going to play a couple of different scenes, and I had a few marked. I don't know which ones. Which ones I'm going to play because some of them are a little bit more in your face. You can see poor George Clooney's about to get his fingernails ripped out, but I don't think I'll play. I'll play maybe up to a certain point. But what I want you to do is go ahead and just write down or take note of small details. What do you see? What do you hear? What do you smell? What's in the background? And how does if you see your main character, how does your main character feel at this moment? Just write just single words or sentence or phrase or whatever.
Homestay Safari.
Yeah, help me out.
Safari.
Yes. Okay, play.
This was a birthday present and a graduation present a couple of years ago. What happened was I was just about to graduate in the Royal Ascot race. Right? The horse won.
Yeah, looks like it's over. Yeah, right?
Ready?
Yeah.
This was a birthday present and a graduation present a couple of years ago. What happened was I was just about to graduate from Oxford, and my mother had a horse in the Royal Ascot race. Right? The horse won that same day that I was graduating, right? And my trust fund matured. So that tops any birthday present that any of you have bought for me tonight.
Capitalism cannot exist without waste. We should write thank you notes to Mr. Whiting and the USA for producing 1/4 of the world's garbage and 1/4 of the demand.
You're certainly welcome. Our pleasure, really. Prince, is there anything that we can do for you?
Americans always happy to drill holes in other people's countries. I've heard of you, Mr. Whiting. The cat's paw of the Saudi princes.
I know your brother, the foreign minister, is very bright. I know your father, too. He threw the second creepiest party I've ever been to in Washington. And as far as I can see, you could probably use a bit of the cat's paw yourself. Second-born son, so beaten down by his family, he can't even tell me what he wants when he's asked straight out. A grown-up baby who's afraid of his brother? And maybe he wants to be king? Maybe. Well, Prince, are you a king? Can you tell me what you want?
Okay, you can pause.
Cancel.
Okay.
Cancel.
Oh, sorry.
Or actually just hit pause right there. Because we'll probably do that one next. Okay. So that scene that we just watched, lots of screaming and yelling, lots of cussing, right? You know, good action, spy. No, right? Not at all. Does it get any more calm than that? Swirling brandy, sitting back on a yacht. But there was an intensity, wasn't there? Could you feel it? What are some of the things that you saw? What are some of the things you heard? Okay.
The urn on the table.
Okay.
It could be poison. It could be
Yeah.
valuable. It could
Okay. Okay. You got that. What else? Anybody hear anything? Okay.
Triangulation or distance. between the
Okay.
characters when they were placed.
Okay.
Created some tension.
Okay. What about anything else?
One was drinking, swishing and drinking, and the other one didn't seem to be drinking. His glass was smaller, and I kept thinking he probably had something in it that he didn't want to drink.
Okay. All right. That's good. These are all things I thought about.
Or something.
Two back here.
I think the one who was drinking, in a way, he was kind of a fulcrum
Huh?
between the other two. The other two, I haven't seen the whole movie yet.
Okay,
I might
yeah.
have a different idea, but the other two were the important ones in the conversation, but the fella drinking kind of helped the conversation remain civilized, if
Mhm.
that makes sense.
Right. Right.
He was kind of the balance between them in that conversation.
Right. In the back.
Yeah, the American wasn't the balance, he was in charge.
Right.
He was the guest,
Yeah.
but he was in charge.
Right. He's cool, isn't he? I mean, he's a bad. If you've seen the movie, he's the bad guy, but he's just so cool. You like him, you know. I'm sorry. Ann.
It's kind of like a fake cooperation, like you thought everybody was friendly, but you got the idea right off that they weren't.
Yeah, second creepiest party I've ever been to. I mean, is that a great line or what? I'm sorry.
I noticed color a lot,
Okay.
so I kind of zoned in on the gentleman in the white suit, and
Mhm.
I wonder about, why he dressed in, a light color in comparison to the dark suit.
Yeah. Well, think about your writing though. I mean, you're setting the scene, aren't you? I mean, again, like I was saying, no screaming, no yelling, no big action. As laid back as it gets, but there's a lot to set that scene, isn't there? A lot. Yeah, Mike.
So we have two characters interacting. We have a third character that helps us understand the tension in the scene because his reactions inform us.
Yeah.
So when he acts tense, then all of a sudden, oh, okay,
Right.
we feel that tension more.
Right. Yes.
This is a common movie device, but just as available on the page, I think, is when serious things are happening, the lighting is dimmed.
Okay.
It's atmospheric. When you see it visually, it's atmospheric, but I think you can describe that in a scene.
Right. What did y'all? So does anybody remember the music? There's music playing in the background. What would it smell like? In a yacht. Salt air. Yeah. Salt
Combination
water.
of wood paneling and salt water.
There you go. There you go. Brandy. Smell of brandy, huh?
Smells like success.
Smells like success. Smells like something bad's going down. We're gonna pay for it as the taxpayer, right?
Right.
All right. Then can you go to the second, the one where it says they play 20 questions, so and so.
Okay.
So we're gonna ratchet up the. It's still gonna be a little bit more laid back. We're gonna ratchet it up a little bit, and I'm gonna apologize in advance. There's a little bit of profanity in it. Is that a big problem with anyone?
No, we don't have virgin ears.
I didn't think it. No, this group, it just, but it's another scene from Syriana,
Okay.
and I'm gonna. Need help there?
It won't let me go to mirror screen.
It's not bad. Thanks.
See, it won't let me mirror screen the last time.
Huh. You can just try to push it and see it. Maybe it'll come up.
If I have to, I'll describe it to you while it's going on.
No, you're gonna act it out. Is what I'm
There's a couple of mean looking guys here.
The mirror screen and the other thing.
Can we drop the PowerPoint
Okay.
out of
So in show,
okay, so that's,
and then I'm going to.
all right, now we're seeing whatever's on the screen.
Okay, good.
Right.
Is it gonna pop up?
Is there? Like we have a 6-pack abs commercial first, but then we'll get to
Good to
My name's Thomas DeLauer, and you're probably wondering, what the heck are these arrows pointing to on my stuff? Well, if I can have the camera zoom in here.
All right, I think we got 4. Poor George Clooney is in trouble here. This is Bob Baer. This is based off a real, like I said, a real Near East Division case officer. I'm going to ask Dan to be quick on the draw with hitting pause, so we don't have to reveal what happens to poor George. Go ahead and hit play. Or wait, hold on one second. Again, think about sights, sounds, smells. What is the guy feeling? Yeah. All right, great.
What do you know about the torture methods used by the Chinese on the Falun Gong? Method number 1. What's your guess? Water dungeon. Did you guess water dungeon? Number 2 method. Number 2, twisting arm and putting face in feces. Not interested in 2. Number 3. Number 3 is called pulling nails from fingers. What do you think, Bob? Number 3 sound good to you? The purpose is to get the monks or whatever to recant their beliefs. That'd be pretty difficult, right? Because if you have no beliefs to recant, then what? Well, then you're fucked as one.
Us. Okay.
What did he whisper?
He said, well, then you're effed as what? You have no, if you have no, what was the question? Sorry, it's so loud. I don't know how to get that. What, you know, if you have no beliefs to recant, then what do you do when they're torturing you? He says, well, then you're screwed. You're screwed. Yeah. So okay, guys, a little bit more intensity than the yacht scene, right? Slightly. But still no, you know, a little bit of cursing, but not a whole lot. Not a whole lot of yelling. But do you feel it?
Oh, yeah.
Would you want to be in Bob Baer's spot there with the guy with the pliers, you know? So what would make that scene, if you're writing that scene, what would make it good? I mean, what are you seeing there?
It's his breathing, his head down,
Mm-hmm.
his whole body shows stress.
He does a good, I mean, George Clooney does a great job of showing that, like, trying to keep it together, but he'd be like we all would be, right? You know, you'd be scared, okay. What would you smell? Sweat?
Fear.
Fear? Yeah.
Smell a lot more smells than just sweat.
There is some truth to that. There's definitely some truth to that. What did you hear? Did a sound jump out at you? What?
The water drop and echoes.
Water drop and echoes.
The scene of isolation.
Isolation? What about when he slams those pliers down on the table? It makes you jump, huh?
Yeah.
Like this is gonna get bad. And then what is he feeling? You know, what if you're writing this guy, you're writing from the inside of Bob Barry's head. What are you writing? What are you thinking?
It's excruciating, slow.
Yeah, just get it over with, right? I mean, if it's got to happen, just do it. I mean, the torture is, you know, preceding the torture, right? Okay, we'll do one more scene. This one's going to be more high intensity here. It's one of my all-time favorite action scenes. And by the way, guys, these are scenes that I really do look to and reference when I'm writing to try to get the scene in my head when I'm writing this. And poor Linda can tell you that I do write things like this. She has to suffer through. Bruce can tell you.
Yeah. Is this the third one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, clear and present danger. Sorry, not Sicario. Although there's others, and 13 Hours is good too.
In 1977, I met a French chef. He said to me, "Cooks."
Smell good.
All right, we ratcheted up the intensity a little bit, right? From the last scene. Lots of action, lots of explosions, lots of guns going off. So that's the obvious. What are some of the things in the background that you also saw, heard, smelled? Right?
In the beginning, you saw some of the pedestrians running into shelter, so they knew what was coming.
Good. Yeah, that's a good observation. But yeah.
Just looking behind the curtains.
Mm-hmm.
Out.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
Oh, it looked like maybe a kind of a grim place to live, but somebody put out flower pots.
That's a good.
Oh,
That's a nice.
It was the only one.
A nice touch as a writer to have something nice in this. Yeah.
And then you get to blow it away.
And then
Get all the plants.
you probably saved all year for that flower pot. Jack Ryan ruins it with his enemies. In the back, Yellow?
The cameraman, in the place of the writer, made us feel that we were in a canyon.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, wasn't that interesting? I mean, I think that's one of the better scenes that I've seen in an action movie, and it's been a while, but I reference it all the time. Anybody have anything else? Did you smell anything?
Oh.
Burning metal, smoke, rubber. What did you? Is there anything you heard other than explosions? Screaming, shouting in the very back.
Noticeable difference in volume
Okay.
of the action sounds, gunshots, explosions, glass breaking, crashes, as opposed to the dialogue and shouting and whatnot, sounds of engines that were going on.
Right. Think about that in terms of writing. So think about writing the scene. How would that look? The breaking glass and yeah.
I would say it depends on your point of view. In other words, the film is omniscient, so
Okay.
you're seeing everything.
Right.
But if you're writing it like from the point of view of Harrison Ford, it would,
Right. Yeah.
totally different.
Right. Totally different depending on your point of view.
Yeah.
And I found myself wondering, since the scene was asking a lot of those vehicles, whether they had been modified, whether they were just standard issue or hyper-powered.
Yeah. Right. You mean in terms of the engines or in terms of like were they bulletproof?
Vehicles, well, whatever.
Yeah.
Right, they were blowing up, they were.
Yeah, that's the reality. Those things aren't going to hold up to an RPG. They're going to be blown away, and even by modern standards, I don't think they hold up to RPGs. And it depends on the caliber, and all sorts of. They're shooting 7.62s. I don't know if they should hold up to them. But yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
One of the things that the images convey is how the smoke and the dust all starts to rise, and it gets harder and harder for them to see what's going on around them. And
Right.
you would need to describe that to create the fog of war.
There you go. The fog of war. I mean, can you imagine the confusion? You don't have to say your character was confused. I mean, just put him in a cloud of smoke burning his lungs and his eyes, and he can't see, and there's explosions all around him. The reader's going to get that, right? They're going to get that feel. I'm sorry, Kim?
The other thing too is you keep that tension going because all the vehicles outwardly look the same. So you don't know which one's being hit. You assume that probably not Harrison Ford. But you know, that first one gets hit and then this one gets hit and suddenly you're trying to keep up with, okay, wait, which one was that?
That's a good point to think about even writing the story. If you're writing like your protagonist trying to get back to his vehicle, he might not even be able to find his vehicle. Maybe they all look like the exact same thing, or trying to find a person within one, and where's the president or whatever, I mean. Yeah.
But it seemed like as the story went on, you could tell that the idea was they're isolating and driving the characters out of that one vehicle to a particular point. Otherwise, they'd just killed everybody right off.
Right.
So they were making all this happen to make them go one direction.
Right.
So they wanted somebody to survive.
Right.
Who was it?
Yeah, you're right. So, I'm sorry, one more.
No, I was just gonna say about the vehicles.
Yeah.
I may have misseen it, but the one that Harrison was in was backing up. The other one was going forward, wasn't it?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so there was the
confusion.
There was a visual difference in that.
One of them was turned around, but they were both going the same direction. In other words, one of them was backing up, one of them was going forward, but they were facing each other.
Yeah,
Was the alley wide enough to do the U-turn that he did?
Well,
Be going backwards from the views you saw at the start?
I don't know, but I don't know. I don't know if I guess the point being is that I think this was a good illustration of how you can write in a scene, as the gentleman in the back put it, the fog of war, the explosions, the turmoil, the chaos, the wild scene that's going on that you can write into a particular scene. Yes.
Well, what struck me is you get into more of a react more than acting.
Right.
Than an action, you're more reacting to what's going on around you
Right.
with the confusion.
Right. confusion. So guys, we've watched 3 scenes here, and the point of this was I was trying to show, and these are, like I said, these are actually clips that I use when I'm writing scenes. I use a lot of, YouTube is my friend. I YouTube a lot of things, and so I want to make the point that you don't have to have been there, done that. There are other people who have been there, done that, and you can watch it and get a pretty good idea. You don't have to have been to Afghanistan or Iraq or wherever. Colombia, I think, was this particular case, but it will give you an idea of how to write scenes and put you there and put you in the moment and help you as you're writing.
Do you know if this exact scene is in the book? You could reference the book to see how it was written.
That would be really. I haven't, and I haven't read Clear and Present Danger. I've seen the movie, but I haven't read that, so that would be fun to reference that and see how they did that.
All right.
Yeah. All right. Next slide. There you go. All right. White Hats, Black Hats. I entitled this. I don't know why it just sort of popped in my head, but before I even joined the CIA, before I even went to grad school, I started asking around. I was interested in the FBI and the CIA, so I knew a CIA agent who was recently retired. An FBI agent who was recently retired. And I asked him the difference between the CIA and the FBI, and other than the sort of functions. And he said and thought about it for a moment. He'd been pretty high up in the FBI, and he goes, I guess the FBI are the people that wear the white hats, and the CIA are the guys that wear the black hats. I thought that was funny, but I didn't 100% understand it at the time, but I did later on. The FBI were always the good guys. They're the ones that that sort of dudley do rights, and the guys that are there to solve crimes and do whatever. And the CIA was always there to steal secrets. And even if you had friends that you were working with from other countries, they're always kind of like looking at you askance. We're looking at them askance, like, what do you want? What do you want? Like, nobody's ever saying the real thing, but that makes it fun for when we're writing in the genre. A couple more writing exercises, and these are real easy. I'm just going to say, scene 1, you got 2 guys. You got Brad Pitt and Robert Redford there sitting in their chairs. And I kind of want to do this exercise just so you know, if you're in a place where, like, I don't even know where to get started. Sometimes just picking a scene, picking a cool picture, and just starting from there will help you get you going. So I thought this could be a fun writing exercise for that. So just take a moment, take 2-3 minutes, and for scene 1, and you got these 2 guys, and say, what do they want? What will they do to get it? And who is in their way? And just take 2 or 3 minutes to develop that. And it's not that we don't expect it to be perfect. Obviously we're just doing it right now, but just more for an idea. Like, just get your creative juices flowing. You guys, while you're doing that, I'm gonna pass around just a piece of paper, and if you guys want to get on my mailing list, just put your name and email address down, and I'm gonna pass that around. And then also too, I was just gonna let you know, I brought a few extra copies of the PowerPoint, and so if you want to pick these up afterwards, you're more than welcome to. Or if you wanted me to send you one, I can always email it to you. Do we need some more time? Are you guys pretty good? Wrapping it up? Okay. Do I have any volunteers to read what you came up with? Remember, this is all in fun. You've had a couple of minutes to do it, so nobody expects anything perfect. But just some ideas. What do they want? What will they do to get it? And who's in their way? Okay.
So not using the scene that the movie actually came from. So what do they want? If they're trying to discuss like a weapon of mass destruction, they want to obtain it, they want to secure it, they want somebody else to not use it. What are they willing to do to get it? It's a world threat, so they're willing to do anything, at almost any cost. And it could be military, it could be a single person, it could be a corporate in their way.
Okay. That's good. I mean, you pretty much have the idea for a book right there, just based off this one, right? Right. I mean, that's kind of the point of this, to show how you can come up with an idea for a book just based on a photo. Anybody else?
They sat together on the bench. Not that they wanted to sit together, but they had a long wait ahead of them. Jason sat back with his arms crossed, watching the children play in the background. Sam stared at Jason behind his glasses. Soon the bus would come, and one of them would succeed and one would fail. They had both been given a mission to destroy the ambassador, but Jason was to take him alive to his boss, while all Sam wanted to do was stop him so he couldn't hurt anyone. Under the bench sat two identical black bags, one containing gun and poison, and the other ropes and tranquilizer.
Hey, that was a round of applause for that. Very good. Hey, not bad for 3 minutes or whatever, huh? Now, see, if you can do that in 3 minutes, you got a lot you need to be doing. So, no, very good. Anybody else? More volunteers? Okay, we got one here.
I haven't actually seen that movie, but I thought about two characters in a story that I've written, which is not in this genre. But what I discovered was that what the characters wanted evolved over time. So the female character wanted justice, then she wanted revenge, and then she wanted the male character. And the same with him, the male character wanted to save the damsel, then he wanted to catch the lawbreaker, and then he wanted the female character. But I mean, I think that's an important point. As stakes get higher, sometimes what the character wants evolves or compounds. So in the case of these two characters, they didn't know each other before these events happened, so it wasn't possible for them to want each other, but their desires compounded, and as that happened, what they were willing to do for what they desired escalated also.
Got it. No, see, I mean, you got a lot out of a couple of photos there. That's great. That's fantastic. You never know what you're going to get out of a bunch of writers, huh? That's fantastic. Anyone else? Okay. You know, I think for the sake of time, let's go on to the next one, because I want to leave some time for questions in there. So Until we meet again, wrapping it all up. I'm gonna grab my old handy dandy slides here if you don't mind. I'm turning over. So you like it? I don't remember the movie, but I don't think it was for dental care. He did have a good reason. It had something to do with the cyanide pill or something, right? Gone awry. Yeah. What's that?
Read it in case they can't.
Okay, so that was telling us already. It says Villain Raul Silva tells Bond that lack of good dental care is reason for world domination. So, wrapping it all up. So ending the book, create a satisfying ending. I know that sounds like the most obvious statement in the world, right? Create a satisfying, this whole presentation I put together based on my experience in writing, and some of the guys that know me here, like Bruce, can tell you that the first novel that I did, I never had a single complaint about the ending, but I hated it. And I just did. It was just one of those things, and it's hard to come up with a good ending. But I think it's important. It's worth going that extra mile, even if it takes longer to get out to get that ending done how you want it. And there's some things that I had missed out on in the first draft or first manuscript of the one I'm working now. And one I put down was "Vengeance is mine, saith your protagonist." There needs to be, at least in a thriller, there needs to be a satisfying ending where the protagonist does. He gets the bad guy. And I didn't have that. I had kind of had a situation where they survived against insurmountable odds, which was a feat in and of itself. And I was doing a series so that the villain sort of went to live on, and everybody went on to fight another day, and we'll see it down the road. But it really wasn't. It really wasn't as satisfying as it could be. So keep that in mind. Wrap up loose ends. Again, another one thing that kind of sounds obvious, but I think we've all been there, right? Where you get to the end of a book or a movie or whatever, and you go, "Whatever happened to like Jumbo?" Like he was there, waiting with the horses or whatever. Everybody just like ran off. I mean, did they get killed? Did he just like leave? What happened? So I think this is where your betas will help you. Make sure your loose ends are wrapped up, and ask people to look for that. And then leave a good hook for the next book in the series. And I guess that all depends. If you're writing a series, that's obvious. You need to leave a good hook. But I think leaving a good hook anyway sometimes is just, especially if you're doing a thriller or a mystery, just leaving a little lingering doubt or a lingering sort of suspicion or wondering what could happen next is always a good idea. After action report. Thank you, sir. May I have another? We all remember that line from Animal House, right? Dan, how many times have you come home and found me just like that after?
When have I not?
She says, when has she not found me like that? I think last year I've only had one nervous breakdown since you've known me and I've been writing, right?
This year.
This year, okay, this year. And I looked about like that, I have to be honest with you. Writing's hard, writing's hard. We do it because we love it, and it's rewarding, but it's hard. You're going to take your lumps along the way, and that's fine. These are just some things that I've learned in this really, I'll just say this in this 2017 leading up to now. Before that too, but specifically this year that I've taken this on and trying to make this a career. First and foremost, have confidence. And I could have said, take courage or something, but it just kind of sounded lame. But have confidence in what you do. You're out there and you're writing and you're putting yourself out there. It takes a lot of courage and confidence to admit that, but it's worth it. I found that I've always been tempted to sort of not want people to know what I'm doing because, it seems a little, I don't know what it is. What is it about writing? It seems arrogant or something that you're putting something out from your brain that other people are going to want to read. And just spend their time on, spend their money on. But do it anyway, because I've had nothing, in all honesty, but good, I've had well wishes and good support from people, and people think it's cool. They just do. I know it's embarrassing to put yourself out that way, but have confidence in what you do, because people are going to think it's cool, and people are going to get behind you. Tell the story you want to tell, not what's expected. I could have just, I guess, said, tell the story you want to tell, and left off not what's expected. but I think that's important too. I found this, and I found this with betas. Or, a lot of people, I tell people what I'm writing, they go, oh, you should do this. You should do this. We've all been there, right? You tell somebody, like, oh, you should write about this thing, or you should do this. Well, that's good, and people have a lot of good suggestions. It's not that they don't. But at the end of the day, this is your name on this book. And this is you're going to be spending the time, you're going to be getting the calluses on your butt from sitting there writing this thing, spending the hours and the time that needs to go in and make this thing happen. So tell the story that you want, not what other people want you to do. When in doubt, write. This kind of goes into that sort of general, everybody gets the question about writer's block or whatever. And we're all going to have those days where sometimes it's going to come and sometimes it's not. It's going to, that's just how it is. But when in doubt, write. Even if you don't write about what you're writing on, if you're writing a particular book, and write something. Because ideas are going to flow and things are going to come. So just start writing. And if you guys are out there and you're like, I've always wanted to write a book and I haven't even started, I don't know where to start. When in doubt, write about something, and I guarantee you things will start to flow. Fail better. Again, it goes back to taking your lumps. You're gonna fail. You're gonna fail along the way. I failed, but go out and do it again. Try harder, and you're gonna succeed. You're gonna fail again, but fail better. The next time you're gonna learn lessons. You're not gonna make the same mistakes, and eventually you're gonna get it right. And then lastly, writing is a team sport. I know it has this sort of, as writers, there's a sort of image that we have as the solitary figures, and then the sort of Ernest Hemingway types that are sitting around, typing away, doing whatever. And that's true for the most part. Writing isn't a team sport. You're sitting there all day by yourself doing this, but you need friends. You need mentors. You need critique groups. You need cheerleaders. I have one of the best cheerleaders in the world sitting in that chair right there, my wife. And without her, I couldn't have done this. Two people sitting down here, Bruce Edwards, Kim Black, Linda Brode. People that have been in my corner since day one and have pushed me forward. And I wouldn't still be doing this if it weren't for them and them helping me out. Guys, you need critique groups. I'll say this, I'll go back to the have confidence. When I met Bruce, I met him at the Story Brewers. And he came, and this guy sat, and I'd never met him before, he'd never been there. And he read just the craziest stuff I'd ever heard. And at the end of the day, I was like, I gotta meet this weirdo, man. Who is that weird, So I got up out of my chair. I know, he looks so normal, and he's not. And I got up out of my chair, and I went over and met Bruce, and boy, did we hit it off, didn't we? We did. We just hit it off. We could have talked all night, and that all came, and so Bruce became a mentor for me, and has been a cheerleader. And he's introduced me to Linda and so many good people, and into a critique group. I am where I am because I got up out of my chair and introduced myself to Bruce, and he introduced me to them, and so it was all. I could have just sat there and went, eh. I know as writers, a lot of us are introverts. I'm not, probably shocking to you or whatever, but take confidence in what you do and just put yourself out there. Because if somebody's rude about it, then they're not worth being friends with, and they're not worth having in your life anyway. But most people aren't. Most people are kind. The Writers Academy, I've seen folks from the Writers Academy. The kindest, nicest, most encouraging people you're ever going to meet are people like you're going to find in this room right now. So writing is a team sport. If you're not involved with a critique group or have friends or writers, or if you're not involved in this group, get involved. Next. Guys, my wife looked at me askance when I put this. She saw this. She thought this was so lame. I was like, everybody's got a favorite Bond girl. This is a James Bond theme, so I have to, have a James Bond ending to it. So what better than a Bond girl, right? So I will open up for questions at this time. You can ask me about the presentation, about CIA. I'll answer to the best ability I can. Anything. But I just ask, please be gentle. That one in the back.
Process. Do you, what do you use when you start a book as far as do you outline? Do you conceptualize? Are you, they say cancer, you just start writing? What is your process, and has that changed over time?
Well, it's interesting you should ask that question because I don't know the answer to it. No, I thought about that. I process. Man, I don't know. I mean, I'm a big believer in outlining. So I believe, okay, this goes back to, following current events and following intel like I do. I know I went back to this, and I'm always watching what's going on in the world. So if I see something that I think is cool or exciting, or I think that something is going to happen, I take note of it. I mark it, I'll either print it out, but usually I just, bookmark it on a page, and then I'll go back and find it. So, and I told you one of my major plot points I found in a BBC article about, and so I started my last book with a story about a closed down Soviet biological weapons facility that I read about in BBC. And from there, it kind of gave me this idea to keep going on and on about what would happen if somebody took that thing over and got it going again. And so I guess I'll get an idea, and then from there I will start outlining and say, generally speaking, where is this story going to go? Generally speaking, I'll develop characters and decide what characters will be involved in this and what role they will play. And I'm funny. My wife can tell you, it probably looks kind of funny if you come into my office because I've got these movie star, like these guys up on my bulletin board, and then people go like, what are those doing? But I use them, I think of an actor that I would like to play the role and how I would like to play that role, and I build a character based off the movie star. I know it sounds strange, that's why it's kind of hard to answer. But from there I go, and I call it barf the story out. So I kind of outline, then I just start writing, and I don't spend too much time thinking about it. And this goes back to, I guess, when in doubt, write. I know Brad Thor, the famous thriller writer, he said, and probably others have said this, give yourself permission to write a bad first draft. And I'm a big believer in that, because if you really start critiquing everything you do at first, the story will be stupid, the characters are stupid, the writing's stupid. Don't worry about it. Just start writing and it'll come, and you'll refine it, and it'll be better. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Does that generally answer your question?
Yes.
Okay. Sir?
You are an analyst. When do you know that you've reached the TMI zone?
Huh. The TMI zone. That's a good. When is there too much information? I guess when you start realizing that you have done nothing but research and done the writing. I can tell you as a former analyst, you can never have too much information. It seems like there's always someone out there that has more than you do. So I tell you, I didn't read fiction for a long time because there was a guilt associated with it when I was in the intel community. Because I felt like I should always be learning something new because there's always some guy gunning for my job. But in terms of writing, if that's what you mean, I think there's a fair amount of research that needs to be done. Then you just got to get busy and start writing. Is that kind of what you're getting at, or?
Yeah, but just when do you know that you are giving the reader information overloaded?
Oh, okay. Okay, good. That's a great question. That's a hard one, and the answer is it depends on the reader, and that's. I've had lots of conversations with my betas on this one because I've had people who have said, hey, Tom Clancy, again, household name, he provides a lot of information in his books. I've had people I did a lot of asking around when I started doing this, and people said they thought that he went kind of overboard. We have something called Google now. So in the era when he was writing, if you didn't know about certain weapon systems, you weren't going to be able to look them up. You had to find them there. Now, there are some people that just want a good story, and they don't want all the information. If they want that, they can look that up, or they're going to end up skimming. The answer, I guess, is a happy medium, whatever that is. I know it's such a subjective question. It depends on the reader. It's hard. But I think in the age that we're living in, where there's so much competition for time for your reader, you kind of got to get to it and get to the point, make it quick and snappy. That's my opinion. I don't know if it's right. It's just my opinion.
That's what my critique says.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and it's not to say that there are not writers that or readers that want all the information, but I'm kind of hearing, what your critique is saying. Yes, ma'am.
Have you ever reached a point you were wanting to write something that may have been out of your career that was classified or not revealable, that you really wanted to use, but
Yeah. There is one thing. And I'm going to reach out to someone about it because the guy actually that told me the story is he writes screenplays and he's still in business, but I'm going to find out about that if that could be declassified or if it was ever. Yeah, to answer your question, and I wish I could tell you about that.
He'd have to kill you.
Yeah, I'd have to tell you. Yeah, right.
I know you have some really unique connections and people that you know, but I've been really impressed with the opportunities that you've made for yourself in networking.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any tips or recommendations for the rest of us on networking to find people, outlets for our work and things like that?
You mean outlets?
Like I know you've been talking to some agents and possible, places that sell screenplays and things like that.
Man, let me just
Any
say,
tips for that?
yeah, okay, so the screenplay. So I've got kind of a separate business that I partner with a guy that does screenplays. Incidentally, it's not the same guy, although they just ended up back in the same office together. It's a weird story, but he's sort of back in. But the answer to your question is just don't take no for an answer. Put yourself out there. Always be meeting people. Always be putting yourself forward. And again, I know I said, as writers, a lot of us are introverts. I'm not. But it doesn't matter. Just do it. I mean, just do it. If this is what you want to do, then you just got to put yourself out there and make that happen. And what? Somebody's going to tell you no. So what? Move on. I can't. If you want it bad enough, you'll do it. I mean, I want this so bad. I can taste it. So there's nobody that's gonna tell me no or make me feel intimidated enough where I'm not gonna reach out. You just gotta ask around, send out lots of emails, expect to get rejected mostly, and then when you do get a little bit of light, you just rush for it. You go for it. And whoever gave you that little bit of light's gonna be sorry that they did. That's their problem. They shouldn't have given an opening.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Now you throw your rejection letter across the room and tell them how stupid they are.
Yeah, they've missed out.
Yeah.
Right?
How many acceptance letters do you need?
You just need one. Yeah, that's right, right? Just need one. Yeah. I'm sorry. Yes, sir.
How do you personally find the balance between investing your time and energy in your writing compared to what makes you a living until you get, if you ever do, to where it's your full-time job? How do you find that balance of priority? Because your family,
Yeah. Well, it was really easy for me because I was losing so much money in my last job. My wife just begged me to become a writer.
It's pretty unique.
Yeah, no, I say that jokingly, but it's kind of true. I'd gotten into I had worked in oil and gas for a while and got laid off when the bust happened, and I did real estate for a while. I was negative $5,000 whenever Diana finally said, "Is there anything else you can do? At least writing. That's not going to cost us money." So, see, you got to laugh at yourself, guys. You got to laugh at yourself. No, that question I think is just unique to everyone. And man, this is probably not the thing that people want to hear. I don't know, but I'm still a big believer in don't quit your day job. Do what you got to do to take care of your family and everybody first. And I'm a planner, and I'm a person that likes to have all my bases covered. And unfortunately, my wife, she has a good job and she's able to bring home the bacon while I'm pursuing my dream. But it hasn't come from a lack of us taking care of business. I mean, she and I have worked very hard to pay off our debts, our bills, to get ourselves in good position where this can happen. So it's not just a matter of should you do it or should you not do it, or what, there's a lot of factors that go into it. And if there's something you really want to do, then you'll work to make it happen. You'll find a way. And but a lot of people still work full time. I mean, Diana can tell you there were times when I was and I wrote while I was working full time. I was doing the oil and gas thing, and I found every opportunity I could to write. I mean, I'd wake up. I still wake up at like 5:30 every morning. But I remember there were times when I was doing this where I'd wake up at night to go to the bathroom at like 3:30 or 4, and be like, well, I could be writing, And if you want it bad enough, you'll do it. And so, yeah, I guess it's just to each his own. But I would say if it's something you really want to do, just work to make it happen. Work in your finances, and you have someone that can help support you and to do all that thing. But it takes what I've had, at least in my situation, to have a supportive wife, and both financially and spiritually and in every which way to help me do this. Any more questions? Well, we got one more.
Are you looking like the rest of us for that big movie break?
Yeah, I'll take that. I think that would be great. I would love to do that. And like I said, I have a buddy of mine that we do screenplays together. And we've had, I wish I could tell you all this story, but this guy, he's my best friend. And he's this Italian guy from the East Coast, and I'm this Texas farm boy. We're the funniest combination together, but we've become best friends, and we met at the agency. And so he's pushing on his end to try to do stuff, and he's had some good luck. And most recently, he's had a guy that says he wants to make, not one of our movies, another movie, but he wants my friend to write it, so I'll help him with it. Nothing to do with CIA, it's sci-fi stuff. And so yeah, I'd love that big break. Absolutely. That it?
You say that the CIA is very interested in what you're doing and what you're writing. And
Yeah, so probably, so that's a good question. Once I'm done with my novel, I'll probably send it to the CIA's office. Gosh, I just can't think of the name. But basically, I have an office that handles this kind of thing, and the CIA, they do work with Hollywood and movies to make sure they get the story right. And then I'll probably submit mine to make sure that there's nothing in it that would be damaging or classifying, or is classified. I'm almost 100% certain there's nothing in there, just because I know it's classified, but just to cover my bases, I might do that too. Probably will. And but yeah, they do work very closely with writers in Hollywood to make sure people get the story right. And I know in Zero Dark 30 and some movies like that, they've worked with them. Yes, ma'am.
The same office you're talking about, is this a part of their routine, or would they be open to answering a question that a writer had? I don't have, for example, I don't know what's classified because I don't have your background. But I might write something and say, I happen to learn that in an unusual way, and I don't think that's general knowledge. And in fact, that has happened to me once in my life. So could I contact this office and say, I'd like to write this in a story, would there be any problem?
Yeah, I'd say it couldn't hurt. I mean, it couldn't hurt.
Well, what I'm saying is, would they respond to an inquiry?
I don't know. The answer, to be honest with you, the answer is I just don't know. My guess is that you'd have to be at a somewhat higher, like, not to say be someone, but be someone of recognition in Hollywood or with a publishing company or something like that. But I don't know. I don't know. My guess is that it's a pretty small office, and maybe they would get back to you, maybe they wouldn't. I don't know. I just honestly don't.
Might show up in bands.
And they might show up in bands. Yeah, I think they would. I mean, they'd obviously look at mine because I was an informant boy.
Yeah, see how that works out.
Vacation to go on holiday.
Anybody else? Oh, there's one far back.
I might have missed it at the beginning, but when
when and why did you leave the CIA?
Oh, boy. Oh. You know, a variety of reasons. Most of which that were just personal. You know, I'm a Texas boy. I lived out of Texas for a while. I've been gone for about, I don't know, 6 years at that point, between grad school and just being gone. And I was just ready to kind of get back home and just be near family and friends and things like that. That was one aspect. Another aspect is that the CIA is a very hard job, and it takes its toll on you. And doing what I was doing in the last years, it's hard.
What were you doing?
I was a targeter, basically, I mean, you can look it up. It's on the website. It's nothing. I'm not telling you anything you can't find on the CIA website. But I was what they call a targeter. And if you're doing it in terrorism, it's killer capture operations. And if you're doing it pretty much anything else, it's targeting for recruitment. Trying to find spies in foreign countries and that kind of thing. But just the way you go about it, it's an interesting process. But after a while, it just sort of takes its toll. And I love the intel community. I mean, and I still love it, and I still love foreign policy and all that. And so I got to go do that when I left to go help the military out and do it on that front. And so I did it for a number of years. Might still be doing it had we not moved here. But yeah, I mean, but now I like writing about it. So does that answer your question? Yeah. Is that it?
How did they approach you? Did they just say, okay,
Yeah.
we like the way you look. Do you want to join us?
Yeah.
What did they do?
No, that's a great question. People always ask, like, how did that happen? The bottom line is they came to my grad school program. I studied public policy, but my specific focus was economics and international relations. So you had a lot of those types where I was going to school, grad school out at Pepperdine. So they came out, so I submitted my resume, and a lot of people submitted. They only got back to a few of us. And then from there, it was kind of weird, I had to do this kind of weird test online, and then I went to a hotel room and met these people by myself. Yeah, it's strange. And then if you get past that point, I was the only one that made it, I think, past that. No, maybe another person did. And then they fly you out. And then you go through the polygraph and all that, which is pretty intensive. And then and I made it through the poly, and I made it through on the first try, which is kind of rare. But I just, somebody gave me the advice. They said, just be truthful. So I sang like a canary, man. Every bad thing ever. Yeah. God, I wish I could tell those stories because they're kind of funny. I had this guy that was I could tell he had been in the Gulf War, not the Gulf War, the war, Gulf War, back in the 90s. And he was a Marine sniper. And so this is the guy that's giving the polygraph. And so these guys picked her, and I'm like, oh, gee, this is going to be fun. It was intense. But yeah, so I submitted my application, and then they sort of vet you from there. And then, when people ask what put me over, I lived overseas. I did an internship with the U.S. Mission to the European Union, so I had experience in working in an embassy type setting. I backpacked through South America when I was right out of college by myself. I went to Antarctica on a Russian ship. I did all kinds of weird. I was like parents' worst nightmare. But that's exactly the kind of person the CIA looks for, somebody that'll take risks, Yep. All right, well, guys, I want to thank you.